Yo, wasn't one of Ariana's predictions about Cam Reddish?
Yes, I was thinking about that, but I couldn't remember what it was.
I don't remember what it was either, but it's definitely about Cam Reddish.
We had a
Is it that he was going to be hurt?
No, it was that he needed to like let his
Make a
time come or
leap.
something.
Yeah.
Can
I feel
Jackson,
like I
can
made
you
a
find
video
that?
about that, or maybe I
Can you
didn't. I
find
don't
that during
remember.
this recording? Do you mind? Welcome to Spinsters, where we would never trade you for a Charlotte Hornets protected first-round pick. I'm Haley, this is Jordan, and we want you to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Yes, and rate us 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts, because thank you.
What do you want to talk about first, Jordan? You want to talk about Cam, or do you want to talk about... I guess we should. It's breaking news.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this is what the report says. The Atlanta Hawks are trading young wing Cam Reddish, Solomon Hill, and a 2025 second-round draft pick via the Brooklyn Nets to the New York Knicks in exchange for a protected first-round pick from the Charlotte Hornets. So essentially, the Atlanta Hawks are trading Cam Reddish for a pick that will surely be nothing.
That's exactly what's happening. I think the Knicks threw in Kevin Knox too. I think just as like a BOGO deal
Kevin
or
Knox
something.
is in this trade?
Yeah, I think the Knicks threw him in last minute. Just like, actually, here you go.
Good.
You can have him.
He needed to go. He needed to be somewhere else. I don't know where he needs to be, but he needs to be somewhere else. Almost sort of similar for Cam Reddish too, because it felt like Atlanta just has too much going on at the wing to really give him any attention. Like one of their preseason concerns from fans, and since I think they've definitely had to be concerned about a lot more, was that they had too much going on.
Yep.
Remember? And yeah, everyone was like worried that they had too much going on. How are they going to handle all of this? They had Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, TLC, and obviously Cam. And for someone who did improve so much this year in shooting, he just made strides in general stability, which is a kind of weird thing to say because a lot of it is just because he had that weird Achilles thing going on last year. Like, I don't even think he ever tore it. He just had some kind of issue with it.
Just like a lingering injury, which sometimes can be worse than, just like an injury, rehab, and going through it, but lingering. And he didn't really feel like he got a rhythm. That's what it seemed like. He was like starting to get good, and then he would be out for a couple games, and then he'd come back. But I feel like it was too crowded on Atlanta. He didn't really have his time to shine. And now he's going on the Knicks, and he will never complain about playing time probably ever again. I'll be like, I'm tired. Please take me out.
No, that's true. And he's still going to be behind people. He's going to be behind Fournier and RJ Barrett. But at least, yeah, you're right. Thibodeau will use you, or you will be reserved to like the very, very end of the rotation, and he'll Kemba Walker you and say, actually, I don't think this is working out.
It could go either way.
But the good news is for Cam, at least he's going to have a chance to do something before he hits restricted free agency from his rookie contract. So I think he's got the rest of this year, and then the Knicks can decide, are we going to pick up and try to re-sign him or not. And I think with the Hawks, they just weren't going to. So this is good because I'm sure that everyone in the situation was aware that the Hawks were going to try to go a different direction. And especially being a player, that's just not a good feeling.
Yeah. And he gets to be reunited with RJ Barrett. So I'm sure that'll...
Oh, yeah, they played at Duke.
Yeah. So I think that'll probably just be a morale booster for him too.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Going anywhere else is nice. I was thinking about that today. It's really... that's quite the path. You get to go to Atlanta. You're like, 19? Well, he's 22 now, so I wonder how old he was when he was drafted in 2019. And then you get to be in Atlanta. You're freshly 22. You get to play in New York. Like, this is great.
Yeah,
I would like to track down someone who's had the most fortunate, like, journeyman career. Like, you've had to go probably 4 or 5 places, but all of them are great. And like fit the stage of your life you're interested in being there. Like if you go to Miami after 26, it's not the same as going to Miami when you're like 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, good for Cam Reddish. I think that this is not going to like move mountains for the Knicks, but any time that they have another body who can do well for them, like you said, that's all Thibodeau's really looking for.
Yep.
He can bring shooting. He really did improve a lot this year in that department. Yeah, so if you're looking for like a guaranteed 10 points, he's your guy. That's great.
Which sometimes the
Adds
Knicks
some stability.
are. So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the Knicks kind of have, it's funny like how definitively they seemed like this season was going down the drain, and then recently, you know, just in a matter of like 10 games, things have flipped around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Last
that's good.
night, RJ Barrett had probably, I don't want to say easy, but a quiet 30. And I feel like nothing that RJ Barrett did before, it just took so much effort and so much energy, but he's on the up. So now he's going to get his friend, and now they're going to get to play together again. And so, yay. I like this trade.
Great.
This is a good
I do
one.
too. For the Hawks, it's interesting because this means either you are getting this pick because it's you think the most you can get for him. And I did see that they were shopping him around like late last week. So maybe they talked to a couple places, one of them being the Lakers, which would have been interesting. But either you are like, okay, we know we're not going to re-sign him. Let's just make sure we trade him now and try to get something back in return. So it's like an ultimatum type thing. Or it's something where the Hawks are thinking, wow, we really need to make a change. What can we get that they then in return we can flip out? And then the third option is that the Hawks are like, maybe we are just still going to continue to look toward the future. Which is a little alarming at this point.
Yeah.
But
How many times?
yeah, because everyone knows you should lean on a protected first-round pick from Charlotte Hornets this year when they are doing actually well for once. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the Hawks do. If this is the only thing that they do before the February 10th trade deadline, then that is bad. That's really
Agreed.
bad.
It seems like they're getting ahead of the curve, and they're like, we're going to start our homework early. And this was the start of it. So I also think about I was listening to you read Woj's tweet, and doesn't he say a young Cam Reddish? And I feel like if you're a Hawks fan, you're like Trae Young because of how it's worded. I don't know. That was just my thought, because I'm like, why did he choose that word out of all the words?
I think I took this
it.
from like the AP or something.
Oh, okay. So that was
but
just poorly worded by them.
Yeah. Trae Young's last name is interesting because it's one of those things that like is temporarily going to be a great nickname, you know, can lead to so much that's fun. But you're right. There's like a little skim, and all of a sudden you're panicking. Yeah. You're in a cold brew panic. Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
You guys like to hear what Ariana's tarot prediction was for him? I mean, we can drop in the actual audio, so you don't have that me like reciting it, but so you guys can react to it. Mm-hmm. She drew Ace of Cups and said this is a positive sign because it's an ace, and that this season is going to be a gift for Cam Reddish, even if he doesn't know it yet.
Whoa. Can we cut that out? Can you cut that out, Jackson?
Pretty sweet. Yes, I can.
Oh, wow. Let's keep that. Oh shit, that's so crazy. Wow.
That's crazy. She
so knows.
Good.
Yeah, she knows. That's like last year when Chris Paul got his nose bloodied. She had already predicted that.
Yeah, or Devin Booker.
Oh yeah, but then something happened with Chris Paul too.
Yeah, it did. It did. But it was yeah. She's so good. I love that. Good for Cam. We saw it in the future. It was in the cards.
While we're on like Trae Young and Cam Reddish and, you know, young players, something that you and I've been talking about, which I think could be interesting to talk about here, is in light of Ja's year and a half, 2 years, like just steady climb to the SportsCenter top 10 like every day, and the one thing that you need to see on Twitter, and just the Grizzlies actually winning and being quite good. Mm-hmm. Is the question of having him in this conversation that we have most young players in, which is like, would you rather have this player or this player? Yeah. And when it's someone like Trae or Luka, that we've exhausted it to no ends. I think. And a lot of times it's like, well, let's just let them see what they can do. And it's probably a team fit thing. But I think we should go through this with like, would you rather have Ja or this player?
Yeah, let's do it.
We could start with Trae.
I think I would still rather have Ja. I'm also like, I might pick Ja over everyone on this list that we go through, but I think Ja is just more versatile. I don't know if that's too much of a slight to Trae Young, but I think he just brings a little bit more. And it's in the context too, we're thinking like over the next 5 years or over their career, or what's the splice that we're thinking about?
I feel like if you're gonna, in that situation, if it's more, you're going to have to determine is Ja's athleticism and what he's able to do and channel through it more than Trae's skill set and how he's able to mitigate not having like that much athleticism. Yeah. The interesting one for me was Jayson Tatum.
Yes.
Because one of them is going like this, the chart emoji is up, and the other one, the chart emoji is down. And I feel bad for Jayson Tatum because this is not necessarily or even a little bit his fault. You know, he's just in a bad situation. But this does happen sometimes with young players. They kind of get into a rut and all of a sudden we're reevaluating what we think about their future. So I'll ask you, I have more thoughts on this one, but would you rather have Ja or Jay?
Ja or Jay? I really like Jayson Tatum. He is so sad right now. I feel like he's just like dropping 40 and just crying because it's just not enough. But I might go Jayson Tatum here, actually. For the long run, just because of going off of how reliable in the sense of not only down the stretch, but just day in, day out. He's just been really, really consistent. Ja, I feel like he's been doing the same thing. But Jayson Tatum from all areas of the floor is why I'm going to go with Tatum here.
Well, right. Like he's able to do more from more areas. Yeah. It sounds like a slight to Ja Morant, what I'm about to say, but it's really not. But I think that this is like no question. When we first talked about it, I sat and thought, and I was like, oh, maybe I would take Ja Morant, but no, there's really no question that I would take Jayson Tatum. Because when you are comparing players and one or both of them is called exciting, like in any form, I think the way to figure out who would benefit you more, and obviously we're starting from scratch here, we're not like fitting them into a specific team or position, to strip that adjective of exciting and ask yourself what it really means, what the root of it is. For Ja, it's that he is hyper athletic and eager, and he's able to translate that into really fantastic things and to be a great playmaker and also to set himself up. With Tatum, it's skill first, it's scoring, and his ability to do everything. He's a two-way player. He's a shooting wing. He can drive inside. Both fuel the other. Like, you know, both of them are athletic. I'm not saying Jayson Tatum's not athletic. But I'll always lean on skill and defensive discipline over athleticism because my Capricorn moon is a killjoy. But seriously, when you think about it, like having a two-way wing who can fill the different positions we've slotted him into in our minds in the future, you know, and through all the iterations of the Celtics, the things we said, well, at least he could fit that position. At least he could fill this hole while this person's out. Yeah, exactly. Over a super athletic, super promising, super entertaining guard. Yeah, 100%. I'm always taking that. With poor defense, that's the other thing. Like, Ja does not play defense well. And for young players, if you're going to pick between the two, I do think that matters. It's not even necessarily the thing of like whose game is going to age better. That's not what I'm considering right now, because 5 extremely strong years can matter more than 8, you know, pretty good years on the right team. But yeah, I'm going Jayson Tatum. I don't really think it's a contest.
I think Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you another one that is like on my mind, but what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, if it came down to who would you rather see in an all-star game, or if they were like fighting for a spot, I want Ja there just because I think it'd be more exciting.
Oh, 100%. If it's like who do I want to go to the bar with? It's Ja. No offense. Who's like they both have kids. Who do I want to be in the PTA with? Ja Morant.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
Did you see him stare down those kids?
Oh my God. Wait. My favorite was Doris Burke retelling it and being like, yes, you got to teach those kids a lesson early.
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny. Now they're giving away jerseys. If you're a kid and you come to the arena with another team's jersey, you can swap it for Ja's jersey. Like Memphis is doing a
what
spin
do you think
on
the age limit is on that, something like that? Because
right?
I've got like a serious baby face. Like it is not.
Oh yeah,
I've looked like this my whole life.
Mm-hmm. I could swap a jersey. Get
Oh,
a free
if it wasn't for my massive height, I'd probably be able to do it.
Wait. My dad really thought you were 6'3".
I'm 6'4", first of all.
6'4", sorry. He saw a picture of us when we were in Vegas. He was like, wait, I thought Haley was 6'4". Just had to put that in there.
Oh, I am. Tell him to Google it.
Yeah. I was like, I was on stilts.
All right, who else? Well, I think the other ones for me would be the would you rather have Ja or this guy or this young spectacular guy?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Luka is one that you brought up because I had forgot all about him. I think in my mind, I think he's way older. Like he's still 22.
I know.
But because of his professional experience before and maybe just the way that we've talked about him, and even just I think it is kind of a mental trick, like watching him play because he does very much play like a 26-year-old already.
Yeah.
LaMelo and Mobley, which is the most interesting question to me. But what about Luka? I think I know the answer. I hope I know the answer.
Oh gosh,
because otherwise
I don't even know the answer yet. I think I'm going Ja here. That might be a hot take. I know.
What?
I know. I think I'm going Ja here. Only because of what you said. Like he's already playing the old man game already. And I think it's actually going to just not be as exciting anymore. Like you said, you kind of forgot about Luka, and we aren't really talking about him this year. Just we, as in like the media, I feel like we're not really talking about him anymore. So it was a little exciting when it was like, whoa, he's only 20 doing this, and now you're like, oh, he's 22. We know what he's gonna do. Ja, you still don't know what you're gonna get. He can still grow.
Right. I feel like you do have a point though, because I think what we tend to do is I hear someone's 22 or 23 or 19 or whatever. And what we do is we take that age and we count backwards. And in our mind, we're like, wow, we have this many years for them to become this like projected image of whatever we want them to be on our championship team in their head. And with Luka, because he started past the starting line of most rookies, right? Yeah. He like had a lap advantage. I think it also almost felt like there's no way he doesn't become he doesn't reach his absolute potential. However, I do think you have a point that he's settled in a little bit, because the image of what Luka needs to be compared to where he started at, maybe there's a smaller distance for him to reach than someone like Giannis when he first came into the league, or when we first had an awareness of him, like in the draft, watching those grainy videos, like that's everyone's favorite story, to where he is now. Giannis's story is he got better every single year.
Yes.
I remember that distinctly, being amazed every single year he added something to his game, or if he didn't add something explicitly, it was that something went from being introduced to being fine-tuned. With Luka, I don't know that he has that same discipline. I really don't. And it's not I mean, there's obviously I have a problem with his attitude when he's like, in the game with refs and whatever, but that's not a mark of you trying hard. But there is a certain number of things that I thought would have maybe improved by now, or there's also been small kind of tells that have suggested maybe improvement isn't as close as I thought in certain areas, like him showing up to training camp wildly out of shape. Was one of them. But it's still the same problems remain. He doesn't bring the same interest to defense. There's just like a basic interest you at least have to have, even if you're not maybe known as the most athletic guy on the court.
Yeah.
Just take defense seriously, as seriously as you take offense. I'm not saying that he's like the worst person out there, but that, going along with that, he hasn't gotten physically any stronger or any more defined. And although he's found amazing ways to use that and maneuver around that to become this offensive genius that he is, you still need it for other aspects of the game. One of them is he does the Russ special a lot. When he doesn't have the ball, he's standing. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit like they all go together and the center line is effort. There's other ones like, like the turnover high rate. Yeah. I think that that's something you can forgive as long as you've got somebody who is holding the ball that much. And you'll see it in certain systems too. Like, look at any Warriors guard. Because of what the Warriors run, because it's, fast and they want to pass a lot, you're more prone to turnovers. So I'm going to forgive that with Luka and not say that him not improving there is like wildly upsetting. But there are a number of things that I'm surprised that they have not gotten noticeably better at this point, I guess is what I'll say. So I don't think you're totally off. I'd still take him 49 times out of 50 times against Shaw. Yeah.
Okay.
Which maybe might be a mistake. And with Mobley, this is the interesting one to me. LaMelo is also interesting, but LaMelo is also interesting. Maybe that, because positionally Mobley? That. Well, it's hard to even like see what Mobley's going to be for a team, because right now he's just a bit of everything for the Cavs. Like he's 7 foot. And he's squatting like Megan Thee Stallion on the three to guard 3-point shooters, to guard guards. It's just nuts. And then it's a little bit weird to watch him. Like I have a out of body experience sometimes. Sounds so hyperbolic, but I'll explain what I mean. Like maybe they'll be showing a replay, right? And I only see the replay, and the camera zoomed in to him and he's hitting like a jumper right from the baseline. And then the camera zooms out and he's running back. And all of a sudden, like this guy who just shot a totally normal shot and stroke for like a guard to have is like this tall and is running back like heads above the rest of them. So it's a little bit weird. I'm still like trying to get used to watching him in the best way. But, because he does look so natural. And then, and he seems to have a really good grasp on the game already, too. I think he's, like, stellar. I cannot wait to keep watching him. I agree. At this point, would rather have Ja, though.
Oh, now we are opposite on this one. I don't know if it's just, like, pick the younger person here, but
you're just always trying to get on something new.
I know, right?
I'm about to warn Freddie.
No. I think I'm so surprised at how much like he is pro ready. Like this, he does not seem like a rookie at all to me. And even when he was playing at USC just, last season, I'm like, oh, he's going to make waves in the NBA immediately. And I love how he comes to this Cavs team and they are better automatically because of him and what he's doing on all areas of the court. On the defensive side, I believe he's leading the team in blocks, and on the offensive side.
On a team with Jared Allen.
On a team with Jared Allen.
Fantastic.
On a team with like 10 other 7-footers. Like he is still heads above everyone else. And I think he's also just like this great example of where how post players have evolved over time, how he can shoot from the outside, how he's playing defense, how has really amazing finishes around the basket too. So I just have a great basketball crush on Evan Mobley, so I'm gonna pick him over Ja.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for the Cavs too. Definitely. A nice trend recently has been these teams getting like one or two players that kind of just fit with the rest of the players they have after they bombed their team apart.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it turns into something
yes.
like LaMelo and Charlotte, who obviously have like added more since they've got Gordon Hayward and everything. But yeah, LaMelo I think is the most interesting one. At this point in time, I would take LaMelo. It sounds like I really don't like Ja. I actually love Ja. I think he's fantastic. I think that people don't love him enough. But yeah, I would 100% take LaMelo. It's just a more spread around set of skills. And if I think LaMelo you could put in really any situation, and he'd make the entire team better.
Yes. I agree with that actually. And I think it's tough. This one's an interesting one because the exciting factor is still there. Like I really love watching not only the Hornets, but LaMelo specifically. You don't know what he's going to do. Something crazy in the game. He's like must watch TV. But I think that kind of comes down to the height. He can just see more. He can shoot over people. And he can finish around the rim and his passing. So I agree with you there.
I think the passing is like the biggest thing, for me. I want to talk about that tweet that I sent you asking about the one rule change in sports that you think would actually work, even if it's ridiculous. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Before we go back, do you want to talk about Kyrie? Because I know you want to talk about this, and I feel like I could go on. This might take me a ways away.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kyrie.
I was thinking about it last night. It was one of those nights where I like would think about something. I wake up and I put in my notes app. So I have like a bunch of notes app thoughts.
Okay. So basically what's happening with Kyrie is we got an update saying that it's a possibility that he might become a full-time player again if the Nets are willing to pay a small fine that maxes out. Wait, how does it go? It's like the first offense is a fine of $1,000, second $2,000, and then it maxes out at $5,000. And I believe you said that it's pretty much going to be $100,000 for him to play, which doesn't seem like anything. And they will definitely pay that.
Okay, so I just did the math. They have 20 home games remaining. So then if you take away the first offense, $1,000, that's one game. The second offense, $2,000, and add on $5,000 per each 18 remaining games in the regular season, that is $93,000. And then for the postseason, if every series they play in goes 7 games, and if they go all the way, there's a potential 16 added games, and that would be an additional $80,000. Because they are all coming at the $5,000 stake. So that, yes, is a lot of money. But it's not even a rookie contract. So it's like, it's not actually a lot of money.
It's a lot of money to
what percentage
us.
of Kyrie's contract that is?
That's 173 total. So I can go on and look at his contract.
It's 0.5% of Kyrie's contract.
Thank you.
Wow.
0.5% of his contract, which is like, yeah. So obviously it makes sense as a business, decision. It makes sense as a business decision, but because if you have to take a tiny bit of a hit that you are allowed to get, I mean, it's like if Kyrie said, I want to be paid $173,000 over the max, they can't do it, but they can do something like this. So it's not a matter of money or financial means. At first, it seemed like it was a matter of principle. Them saying, "Hey, we're not going to let you play at all."
Now that money's involved, they're like, "Yeah, well, scrap that."
I think that it has to be Kevin Durant. There's no doubt in my mind. He's playing so much. It's really worrisome for a guy who literally has come back from one of the toughest injuries you can come back from as a basketball player. He's playing too much. The same concern extends to James Harden. and will continue to. And yeah, they just need help. So I think you have to take a step back and see what the consequences might be of your actual good principles of, but you're not in this. If you're a billionaire owner, if you're a, sports franchise, you're not in it for ethics. You're not. Let's not pretend that this is the first time that things matter to you.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, you're essentially, if something goes wrong and Katie gets hurt and he's overworked or is just upset and doesn't like that they held Kyrie out, same stipulations could be applied to Harden, then all of a sudden for $173,000, you have just lost 3 superstars and the biggest investment you've ever made in a basketball team. So yeah, of course they're going to go back on their morals. I've heard conspiracy theories from our former boss one that say that they're just letting Kyrie play just so they can shop him, because you can't shop him while he's on the bench. I don't know.
I don't buy that one.
I think that's thinking really far ahead for a team that is living by the minutes game to game, not in a way where it's like they're not winning, but it's just like if you watch one of their games, they are holding on like energy wise by a straw. So this, I think, makes sense. This makes sense to me. And when I say that, I hope you guys know I'm not saying that this makes sense to me. Throw all your morals away. I'm saying there are no morals in the first place.
Exactly.
So for a team to go back on them and pretend like they're not going to pay the fine, if you're going to let him play half the time, why wouldn't you just let him play in New York?
It doesn't make any sense. It's just like, why? And at this point, too, we've seen how good they are all together. So I can see as an owner, you're like, oh, wow, we're actually playing really well when 3 of our superstars that we paid a lot of money for are playing well. So we just have to throw some pocket change at this and he gets to play full time. Yes, I think there's no doubt in their mind.
This 60 years from now, this is going to be like in 2 books about the history of the Nets and the history of the NBA, and you're going to have to scour them, and then somebody's going to write a blog, except the blog is going to be in crypto, and it automatically goes into our braids. We won't even read anymore. And it's going to be like a footnote of, did you know that originally the Nets blocked Kyrie from playing? And by that point, people will be like, well, yeah, no, I didn't. Basketball doesn't exist. The world's burning. But anyway, this doesn't surprise me at all. And that's so little money. Like it's a percentage of his contract. So yeah, this just makes sense to me.
It definitely does. I mean, there are other fines that have been worth way more money. As you know, Mark Cuban has just been fined for just talking to a ref for like $600,000. So, and he paid that without batting an eye. So that was nothing.
Also, which year was that?
That one was, I found this on, what is this, Fan Buzz, of all the top fines that people have paid. For telling players to tank. That was in 2018. Mark Cuban got fined $600,000.
I remember that. He was like, we're going to, and then but the weird thing is, he told on himself.
Yes, he did.
He got fined because he told, like a radio station or something, that he told the players to tank.
He was saying that, he was writing the check. He was fine.
That man thinks he's invincible, and it scares me. He scares me.
It was in 2002 that he got fined for criticizing the officials, $500,000.
That was 2002. That was his second year as an owner, and he well, no, never mind, because he got multiple fines that year. I think he got 3 fines his first 2 years, and one of them, I think this is the one you're talking about, because this was like very audacious. He made the arena replay the play in question that the refs had called a foul on the Jumbotron. Like he told the people running the arena ops to put it back on there. And the NBA was like, this is the most disrespectful thing we've ever seen. I think that's the one you're talking about, because they fined him a lot for it. But he also had multiple incidents with the refs then and throughout. It's definitely stayed constant.
Definitely stayed constant. Yeah.
What are other ones?
Oh, here's one that I love. This created player for the Lakers in 2007, Vlad Rodmanovich, he got fined $500,000 for snowboarding in the off season.
Yep, I remember that.
Yep.
Endangering himself. Yes.
Yep. That was kind of a breach of contract, but it was still more money after he was injured than what the Nets are willing to pay for Kyrie. Some of the other ones are bad. Like, okay, Donald Sterling, 2.5 million. That wasn't enough for the racist comments that you said. Not enough. And the Timberwolves in 2000 for signing a secret agreement, $3.5 million. That's the most expensive fine.
That was so crazy. I wish there should be more under the table stuff, but we can get to that a different day. But let's not, you know what I mean? Let's not pretend who we're not.
Talk about morals.
Okay, so I'd be very surprised if they just don't end up doing that. I think we're both agreeing on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, now I'm going to get to my tweet. So Mina, the Angel Kimes, tweeted, "What's your goofiest sports take that you kind of actually believe?" Mine is, if the Bills want to truly get the most out of Josh Allen, they got to build a dome, which is very funny.
That's a good one.
Keep that man warm, 100%. And then there were so many good ones that were replied to it.
So many.
I have one. I don't know if you have one, but my favorite one was by Joe Lindell, who is Family, Friends, Birds, Fundraising, Timberwolves, Twins, Books, Music, and more. Black Lives Matter. Cool. Thank you, Joe. That's his bio. Just a little bit about Joe. Joe said, home teams should determine the three-point line's position like fences in a baseball stadium, making each arena unique and playing to their team's strength. This is the best idea I've ever heard. This would be so fun. Mine is like similar, but not even close in terms of just like how actual good it was. My long-standing how do we speed the game up and also like kind of shake up the things we've just all fallen into habit doing is the last 5 minutes of a basketball game, regardless of score, fouls become points awarded automatically.
Ooh.
So could get very contentious. Yeah. And the refs, higher stakes definitely apply to them. And they'd have to probably like, all right, the refs are going to have to get bodyguards.
There you go. That's great. But that's kind of how it is in FIBA 3x3. Really? Like you get penalized after a certain number of fouls, though, not with time. But instead of like, double bonus, you start automatically giving points and you start you get more chances at free throws. Yeah, it's a system that you go through, but it's you get penalized the more you keep fouling. And I think that's how it should go. Yeah. Especially for take fouls. That's my hot take.
Exactly.
Get rid of the take foul. I hate that.
With the 3-point line though, this I think is the question. Well, there's 3 questions, right? Who's moving it back?
Mm-hmm.
Who's standing pat? Who's moving it up? Okay, Harry, my gut instinct, and I think everybody's gut instinct would be if one team could take advantage of moving it back, it would either have to be the best 3-point shooting team, one with the strongest players who we are confident could regularly hit those shots from far out or adjust quickly, or it'd have to be such a bad 3-point shooting team that they moved it almost so it doesn't matter, right? It's like the half-court line to eliminate the 3 from the game. I almost think the latter would work better. But anyway, my first instinct on who moves it back to still shoot 3-pointers with the advantage of still taking them. Yeah, it would be the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Harry?
I do think it would be the Warriors, or I guess
the Hawks got to be an option too.
Yeah. Or I
don't think the Hawks are as much as I've really thought about this, but sorry.
Trae shoots it the best percentage from deep in the entire NBA.
Trae himself.
Only
Trae
him though. Yeah. I think that's where you're like, okay, Trae, we're not shooting any threes. It's all up to you.
Yeah.
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 I was thinking those Houston teams like from 2017, 18, 19 would be a good like deep 3 threat. But here, I have a question. Are you allowed to change it year to year? Because I think it would be cool, like baseball fields, if it's locked in for a period of time. So it has to, because, if you could change it year to year, then it would start to be the strategy thing. But if you have to lock it in for 10 years, then it's like a culture thing.
year to year, not game to game. Because originally I was thinking, oh, is it game to game? But then you would have to. That's too many elements, right? We need some fixed elements in this experiment. I think you change it. You can change it every year, as you can change your court every year. So I think teams like who've figured out the 3 and have figured out defending it. The Bucks standing pat.
I have a question about this hypothetical.
Yes.
Is there a limit to how close you can move it? Because like, what if you just moved it like where the restricted area is?
No, I've thought about this.
Every shot you take is like your 3-point percentage. Your team's gonna break all the records for 3-point percentage and made three.
No, it would be. I would say it would be like high school 3 would be.
That's as close as you can get.
That's what I have in my mind.
That's not where my brain took it. No, that's not where my brain took it. But I will explain. I will explain because I was thinking, okay, if every team, because if you like all together, if you can move it back so far that it basically eliminates the 3. For certain teams like the Trailblazers, who have always been, except with the exception of like 3 months over the course of the last 6 years, really bad perimeter defenders, but also love to shoot, have very, shoot happy guards who often can produce and cycle in guys all the time who like to shoot these wings, this long haul of wings that they've had over the last couple of years. You'd want that as close as possible because your whole game is to rack up points. And if you're going to be such bad defenders, this is the most production you want. So that's when I was thinking about the Blazers. I was like, move it all the way in. Move it to the restricted area. Another thought I had when he said this was like, what if you could move the restricted area? And then I was like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever. I literally was thinking about it for like 3 minutes and maybe like 24 seconds, and I was like, this is actually so stupid because the restricted area is there for a reason.
That actually has a purpose. Can you imagine it being
anywhere? Yeah, there's no purpose anywhere else.
It's the half-court circle.
Can you imagine like just getting a violation?
The key bigger?
That would change things.
I also actually kind of like moving the restricted area because it would basically eliminate charges, which charges are annoying as fuck.
No, I like charges. I'm a charge girl. Also, like, can you imagine if you just put it in the corner and like poor Kevin Love is just standing in the corner and he doesn't know, and so then they call him on a violation? Like, that's
what I think of the key. If you make the key bigger, that's only for defensive 3 seconds and 3 seconds violations. I don't know if I'm.
I know because
that would stop the game more.
If you so let's say that you well, maybe he's onto something though, because then you have to have constant movement in a larger space. There really aren't there are not that many teams that stand around anymore in 2022. That's just really not how offenses work anymore. Yeah. What's really interesting is how all of these things, what I was thinking about is how do the Lakers benefit from anything?
Stop.
Right? I went through every scenario. I went through mine with the fouls. I went through this one. Do you move the 3-point line all the way back? Do you just move it a little bit back? Do you move it in halfway? And I'm not kidding.
How we benefit is like you just take the defender off of Russ and everyone just goes like, please make it. You can do it. And everyone's just shouting encouragements at him as he shoots the ball. That's the only way you can help
It's
us.
gotten to I mean, I genuinely wasn't going to bring it up. We don't
really?
No, we don't.
Oh, really? After we lost to the Kings, you weren't going to bring it up, Haley?
I wasn't because I was like, this is too far. That's like mean. At this point, that's rude. Did you guys see that the Kings arena, they have like an ice cold player of the game and they made it Russ?
Yeah.
And it's like usually...
I hate Sacramento so much.
Your birthplace, your place of birth.
My parents were at that game, and my dad said the worst thing before they decided to go to that game. He's like, the Lakers been playing okay. I think we're gonna go. I'm like, oh no. Well, that was just a waste of your money because it was atrocious, and that was not the player of the game Russell Westbrook wanted. Not the ice cold player.
Gorgeous, gorgeous girls do not watch the Lakers live or on replay for their own health.
For their own health.
Oh my God. All right. Well, do you guys want to wrap it there?
Yeah, that's good. I think that could just be an ongoing topic because I feel like as we're watching more games, we're gonna think of more things that we could change. But send us what you would want to change about the game in our voice on our. Send us what you would like to change about the game on our voicemail at 502-874-4453 or send us an email at spinsters@bluewirepods.com to be featured on the show.